The moment begins quietly, almost deceptively calm, the kind of calm that only exists right before something explosive tears through it. The studio lights glow warm and inviting, polished floors reflecting years of daytime television tradition, a space designed for comfort, agreement, and carefully managed disagreement. But this day is different. The energy is wrong. There's a subtle tension in the air, the kind that doesn't announce itself loudly but presses against the room like static before a storm. Carrie Underwood walks into that space carrying more than fame. She carries legacy, a voice that has filled stadiums, a career built on precision, discipline, and emotional control. Every step she takes carries the weight of years spent under scrutiny, years of mastering the art of restraint while the world watches. She isn't here to perform. She isn't here to charm. She's here to speak, and the shift is immediate. Something about her presence changes the room. The rhythm tightens. The smiles feel rehearsed rather than natural. At first, everything follows the expected pattern. Controlled expressions, neutral body language, the polished surface of daytime television doing what it always does, masking tension with pleasantries. But underneath that surface, something is brewing. A difference not just of opinion, but of worldview. A clash between carefully guarded identity and unapologetic expression. And the cameras capture every micro movement, every tightening jaw, every pause that lasts half a second too long. The conversation moves forward, but the balance starts to slip. What begins as commentary slowly hardens into confrontation. The tone sharpens. The air grows heavier. This is no longer about entertainment. This is about control, about narrative, about who gets to define the moment and who is expected to absorb the impact quietly. Carrie Underwood doesn't flinch. That's the first, wow, moment. No visible panic. No retreat. Just composure under pressure. Years of performing under blinding lights have trained her for this exact kind of scrutiny. But this isn't a concert crowd. This isn't applause or silence. This is something far more unpredictable. The kind of challenge that doesn't come with clear rules. The tension escalates rapidly. What should have remained a structured exchange turns into something raw and unstable. The studio atmosphere tightens, as if the walls themselves are listening. Every word lands harder than intended. Every reaction amplifies the next. This is where daytime television crosses into something else entirely, unscripted, uncontrollable, and dangerous to the brand of calm it tries so desperately to maintain. Joy Behar's presence dominates the space, sharp and unyielding, honed by decades of confrontation as performance. She knows this environment. She knows how to apply pressure, how to push without appearing to push, how to corner without raising her voice. But this time, the usual formula doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Carrie doesn't collapse under it. She doesn't overreact. Instead, she does something far more disruptive. She holds her ground. That's the second, wow, moment. The cameras catch it. The stillness. The refusal to shrink. The unspoken message that not every guest will play the expected role. The room senses it instantly. Producers shift. The energy behind the scenes spikes. This is not going according to plan. What follows feels like acceleration. The kind that happens when there's no longer any turning back. The exchange grows sharper, the emotional stakes rising with every second. This is no longer a discussion meant for casual viewers folding laundry at home. This is confrontation unfolding in real time, and it threatens to break the illusion that this space is safe. Predictable, controlled, the show's structure begins to crack. The invisible rules that govern daytime television, keep it light, keep it moving, never let it get too real, start to fail. And when those rules fail, the machine reacts. Suddenly, the momentum shifts away from conversation and toward containment. Carrie Underwood becomes a problem that needs managing. Not because she's loud, not because she's disrespectful, but because she refuses to be diminished. Because she doesn't soften her presence to make the moment easier for everyone else. And that refusal is dangerous in a space built on control. This is where the atmosphere turns electric. Behind the smiles, decisions are being made. The pace of the show tightens. Transitions feel rushed. The rhythm is off. Viewers can feel it even if they can't name it. Something has gone wrong, and the show is scrambling to regain balance. Then comes the moment that changes everything. The separation. The quiet but unmistakable shift that signals the end of participation. Not framed as drama, not announced as conflict, just an abrupt redirection, a removal disguised as professionalism. Carrie Underwood is no longer part of the equation. The machine has decided. That's the third, wow, moment, not because of spectacle, but because of what it reveals. A superstar with global recognition, millions of fans, and an unshakable career is effectively pushed out of a space that couldn't contain her authenticity. Not escorted with chaos, but edged out with control, the way institutions protect themselves when unpredictability threatens the brand. The aftermath is immediate and explosive. Online reactions ignite within minutes. Clips circulate, commentary erupts. Supporters and critics flood social media, dissecting every second, every expression, every pause. The narrative fractures into 1,000 competing versions, each side convinced they've witnessed something definitive. But beyond the noise, something deeper resonates. This wasn't just a clash of personalities. It was a collision between two worlds. One built on curated confrontation, the other on earned credibility. One thrives on pushing boundaries for reaction. The other survives by maintaining control under pressure. Carrie Underwood doesn't issue a meltdown. She doesn't spiral publicly. She does what she's always done, she moves forward. And that, paradoxically, fuels the story even more. Because silence, in moments like this, is powerful. The incident becomes bigger than the show. Bigger than the personalities involved. It becomes a symbol, a case study in what happens when carefully managed television environments encounter individuals who won't bend to expectation. Fans analyze body language. Media outlets debate intent. Commentators argue about fairness, freedom, and the limits of televised discourse. And through it all, the image remains clear, Carrie Underwood standing composed in a space that suddenly couldn't hold her. That's the final, wow, moment. Not an outburst, not a viral soundbite, but restraint in the face of pressure. Control in the middle of chaos. A reminder that sometimes the most disruptive thing you can do is refuse to be shaken. The studio lights fade. The episode moves on. The show continues as it always has. But something has shifted. A crack has formed in the surface, visible to anyone paying attention. Because moments like this don't disappear. They linger. They replay. They redefine how audiences see the space, the hosts, and the guests who walk into that controlled arena expecting conversation, and instead find confrontation. And long after the cameras stop rolling, one truth remains undeniable. That room tried to contain a force it couldn't control. And it showed.